Hello everyone, it's Mr. Salimata over here, and in today's lesson we'll be looking at multiples. And by the end of this lesson, every student should be able to find multiples of a certain number and also understand what multiples are. Now, talking about multiples, what are multiples? Multiples are basically the times tables of a number. Yes, the times tables of a number. So now let's take a look at an example. Yes, let's try to find multiples of a certain number so we can understand what exactly Mr. Salimata is talking about. Yes, so let's choose let's go with 14. Yes, let's try to find multiples of 14. Yes, now remember we say that multiples, yes, are basically the times tables of a certain number. So what we're talking about is what are the numbers that are in the 14 times tables. Yes, so we're talking about just multiplying numbers. Yes, multiplying numbers. So let's say if we want to find now multiples of 14, so we just have to multiply 1, yes, by 14. That gives us 14, right? 2 by 14, what will that give us? That will give us 28. Yes, 3 by 14, yes, what does that give us? That gives us what? 42. And 4 by 14 will give us 56. So you see, the numbers keep on going and going, right? But now I've only done the first 4 multiples of 14. So in this example over here, yes, we can say that these numbers over here, yes, these first 4, yes, these first 4 numbers that we're seeing here, these are the first 4 multiples of 14. Yeah, so then what is it that we are saying exactly? So we can also say that, yes, we can also say that multiples of a certain number, yes, will be divisible by that number. Yeah, that's what we mean in other words. Yes, multiples of a certain number will be divisible by that number. So what do I mean by that? Yes, let's take 28. Yes, we know that 14, 28, 42 and 56, these are the first 4 multiples of 14, right? But then we also say that multiples of a certain number are what? Are divisible by that number, right? So in our case, if we know these are our multiples, yes, so now they should be divisible by 14, right? So let's say we take 28, like I said earlier. Yes, let's take 28. We take 28, yes, divide by what? By 14. 14 into 28 is what? Is 2, right? Now, if we look at this 2, it's a whole number, right? And it doesn't have any remainder. What I mean is it's not like 2.2, 2.3, or 2.416. It's just one single whole number, right? So then we can say that multiples of a certain number, right, will be divisible by that number without leaving any remainder. Yeah, so let's put that into practice. Yes, so we've already put the first part into practice. We now know that 28 is what? Is a multiple of 14, because it is divisible by 14, right? If we divide 14 into 28, it's giving us 2, right? So how about then we try 29? Yes, let's divide 14 into 29. What does that give us? That will give us about 2.071, and the numbers keep going, right? And then, but then if we round it off, yes, that will be like 2.1. Now you see this one over here. This is a remainder, right? So then what does that tell us about 29? It tells us that 29 is not a multiple of 14. Yes? So we're talking about what? Divisible. Yes, divisible. Multiples would be what? Divisible by 14 without leaving any remainder. Yes? Okay, so now, this is not the only way that you can find multiples of a certain number. Yeah? I'm going to show you another way in which you can find multiples of a certain number if you don't want to go through this whole process of multiplying. Yes, or rather multiplication. Yeah. So now we can also find multiples of a certain number by simply adding the same number again and again. What do I mean by that? So let's say, for example, 14. Yes. We have our 14 over here. Yes. So if we want to find multiples of 14 in the other one I'm talking about by adding the same number over and over again, so we can simply say, yes, we can just add our 14 right here. Yeah, we add our 14, so 14 plus 14, that gives us what? 28. Add the same number again, which is our 14. Yes, the same number, 14, so that will be 28 plus 14 gives us what? 42. We add 14. Yes, 42 plus 14 gives us what? Gives us 56. Add another 14. So you see, when you keep adding and adding and adding, you continue finding what? Multiples of 14, all right? The numbers keep going on, right? So now, in our case, what are the multiples of 14? 14, 28, 42, 56, and going on, right? But in our case, for me, we just found the first four multiples of what? Of 14. So these are the first four multiples of 14, and these are also the first four multiples of 14. Do not forget, multiples of a certain number will be divisible by the same number. Yes? Okay, so now that we've got a concept of what multiples are and how we can find multiples, let's try to do another example. Yes, let's try to do another example. Allow me to erase this. Sorry about that. I hope everything will be clear as we do our second example, or rather as we find multiples of this other number. Let's take 15. Yes, let's go with 15. Yes, we want to find multiples of 15. So remember, we're just looking for what? For numbers that are in the 15 times tables, right? So we are multiplying 1 by 15. Gives me what? 15. 2 by 15 gives me what? Gives me 30, right? 3 multiply by 15. What does that give us? That gives us 45, right? 4 multiply by 15. That will give me what? That will give us 60, right? So 5, let's just go on, by 15. That will give me 75, right? So these right here, yes, these right here are the first 5 multiples of 15, right? I'm using the term 5 because these are the only ones, or this is where I've just ended to finding multiples of what? Of 15, the first 5. But these are not the only multiples of 15. They keep going on, yes? 6 by 15, 7 by 15, 8 by 15, 9 by 15, 10 by 15. All those are multiples of 15, but in our case, we're just looking at the first 5 multiples of 15, right? And now remember, we did say that multiples of a certain number should be what? Be divisible by that same number, right? So in our case, let's check. Yes, let's try to check. We shall pick 2, right? Let's go with 30. Yes, 30. Yes, divisible. Yes, by dividing 15 into 30 is 2. Remember, it's not leaving any remainder, right? Let's check with what? With 60. 15. Yes, 15 into 60, that's 4, right? So you see, the multiples, yes, are divisible by what? By 15 without leaving any remainder. Now, I also taught you another technique of how you can find multiples, yes, without doing the whole process of multiplication, right? If you guys remember, I said, yes, you just have to keep adding the same number, right? So we add by 15. What are we going to get? 15 plus 15, that's 30. We're adding another 15. 30 plus 15 gives us 45. We add another 15. Yes, 45 plus 15. What do we get? We get 60. We add another 15. Yes, 60 by 15. What do we get? That gives us 75. We just keep on adding and adding, yeah, the same number, and shall continue finding its what, or rather getting its multiple. Yes, it's multiple, sorry. So these over here, yes, as they keep on going, are the what? Are the multiples of 15, which is the same thing that we did here. But here we're just using a what? A different technique, right? Okay, so now sometimes, not sometimes, you will find a situation where now you're given a bigger number, or rather two big numbers, and you're being asked to find between these two numbers, yes, which one is a multiple of a certain number. Yes, you'll be given that certain number. Yes, so let's try to do that example. Yes, so let's say we've been given 450. Yes, let's take our 450, and also been given 620. Yes, and we're being asked to find between 450 and 620. Yes, which one is a multiple of 15? Yes, so the question is asking us to find between these two numbers the multiple of 15. How then do we do that? So I'm sure in our mind we'll be like, okay, it's okay, we can just find multiples of 15 until we get to 450 or 620 and see which one is a multiple of 15 between these two numbers. And you go 1 by 15, 2 by 15, yeah, you go on, and you waste so much time, right? Just for you to get to 450 or 620. But then, in my explanation earlier, I did say that multiples of a certain number will be divisible by that certain number without leaving any remainder, right? So that actually makes our life easy, right? So then, all what we have to do, since we're being asked to find between 450 and 620, which one is a multiple of 15, what do we have to do? We just have to divide, yes? We just divide by 15. Yes? Right? How many times does 15 go into 450? Because there are 30 times. And how many times does 15 go into 620? Because there are about 41.333. It keeps on going, right? Now, what is it that you guys can notice now? So between 450 and 620, which one is a multiple of 15? It's definitely 450. But why? It's because we have a whole number here without a remainder, right? Which is 30. While with 620, we have what? 41.333. It has what? Remainders, right? So 620 is not a multiple of 15. Yes, but 450 is a multiple of 15. Because after we divide, what do we have? We are getting a whole number with no remainder, right? Okay, today we're going to end here. I hope you guys have learned what multiples are, yes, and how to find multiples of a certain number. I'll see you in my next lesson. Thank you so much. Bye for now.